So it's Sunday, October 22nd, 2023, and I wanted to do a video for the week ahead because I think this week has the potential to have some really exciting trades set up and a potential swing low that could be meaningful into the end of the year 2023. Everybody's looking for it. Everybody's been getting bagged trying to buy it. And we're going to find it. And I think this week has the potential to have some amazing setups. So real quick here, I'm going over the yearly volume profiles. We'll start there and then sort of drill in to lower profiles. And on this swing low here, which we were not satisfied with because it lacked excess, the regular trading hours lows, I think were like a tick apart between days. We had an overnight low of 42.35-ish, never made it there in cash hours. I'm not a purist. That doesn't have to be a cash hours low, but I feel like this swing low is important enough because it determines the rest of the year that I want a really good low. We didn't get it, but where did we stop? We basically stopped at the 2022 value area high and also a 2023 low volume node. So a couple of things. If you're just looking at this profile here, if we were to accept back within value for 2022, one could make the assessment that we're rejecting this entire move here. I'm not necessarily going to say that, but it's reasonable to expect that we come all the way down and tag 2022's volume point of control. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen this week in a straight line or anything like that, but I'm just saying that volume profile traders, if they suggested that on any given profile in an isolated situation, acceptance back below the value area high would potentially target point of control, maybe some LVNs in the middle here, maybe this high volume area at least, but not unreasonable. And you've seen people calling for 3960s on Twitter reasonable recently, and it's not unreasonable at all. People think they're crazy, but I mean, it's not. There's also a lot of volume there in 23. If you did a 2-year volume profile, it's a very important spot, and especially if you do a 3-year. I actually think this is 3-year, off the top of my head, I think this is 3-year volume point of control if you did a 3-year profile. So looking at the 2023, again, we said we had this LVN here, we dipped in here, and we just couldn't make it through. Sellers got a little bit tired, but the buying activity here was not impressive to me. It just, looked like sellers were like, hey, we got to cover some here. And so we swung it long because we knew that's the direction we were going. And from there, we searched for a weekly lower high. 44.19 to 44.24 was the first spot that we were looking for, and that's what we got outside of a extended trading hours excursion above 44.23 and a quarter maybe might have been the swing high. And now we're back below 2023 value area high. So in the same vein that we talked about for 2022, if we've accepted back into value for 2023, it is not unreasonable to call for the point of control for 2023, which is right around, I have it as 41.43. If you've got 35 to 45, I think that's completely fine. We do still have this LVN that we want to keep an eye on. This LVN in part formed because of this aggressive move out of here, right? So if price doesn't spend a whole lot of time, it probably also doesn't spend a whole lot of volume. As a general rule, we ripped up here, created this LVN, and then started, the move higher. So again, that's the context from a yearly profile perspective. But we also have to look at context on the monthly, on the weekly, on the daily. So we can't just look at something in a vacuum, a given volume profile, and make an assessment. So we're going to go ahead and drill into the monthly next. So here's the monthly profiles. And you can see that in this prior swing low, which is basically where we're trading now, we had come down to the May highs and held. We talked about the LVN from 2023, value area high from 2022. So from here, if we take this out, which we're going to, we have to, it's reasonable to look at the value area high then for May, which I've got as 41.98. So that would be the first place that we could say, maybe we stop in here and then rip right out of there. Now with a value area high or a value area low, I've said this a number of times. I don't consider these like hard, fast levels. Like I'm not looking to bottom tick this at 41.98. There's usually a little bit of F around and find out, and so we'll drill into tighter time frames to see where that might be. But generally acceptance below this 41.98, which also gets you into April highs as well. So if we get into April, we get into value for May, reasonable to expect at least this cluster of point of control here at 3 different months. And if not, value area low, which look, we have a couple of months clustered here, value area low, which is also kind of the bottom of this primary distribution here from February. So definitely very interesting spots. 41.22 would get us below the yearly volume point of control. So that's why you have to look at multiple time frames. They can look a little bit different. And things get absolutely disgusting from here until, we start looking at things from a balance range perspective, which we'll come back to. But so for monthly, you've got kind of this 41.98 as your next stop. And then from there, your yearly volume point of control, which, no surprise, right around here. And then value area low from this cluster.